Hey, this is Pastor Nat from Back to the Bible, and thanks for joining us to win the day. Today we're going to talk about not being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. That was the opening line of a friend's seminar. Dr. Michael Frazina, he actually has a workshop called Jerks at Work. It's really all about leading ourselves well, so that way we don't become jerks at work. Because, let's face it, as we talked about yesterday, it's normal to be disengaged in the workplace. But as employers, leaders, and as humans made in God's image, we can do so much better. What do I mean by that? Well, let's listen to the Apostle Paul as he continues discussing our new nature at home and at work. Masters, be just and fair to your slaves. Remember that you also have a master in heaven. Now, in case you missed it, Paul has been covering different relationships in home in the ancient culture. He's talked to husbands, wives, parents, children, slaves, and now masters. Yesterday, we addressed the reality that Jesus came not to be a social justice warrior, but to seek and save the lost. So rather than condemn slavery, Paul addresses the reality of it with practical application. Yesterday we discovered, no matter who we work for, we are called to do our work well. Why? Because we really work for God. Now, here Paul says, masters, treat your slaves with dignity and respect. You too have a master in heaven who treats you like gold. In other words, do the same thing. Now, thankfully today, we aren't faced with slavery, but we do face employers and employees. We face leaders of all shapes and sizes. And as John Maxwell said, we are all leaders. That's true because leadership is all about influence. We all influence someone, so let's influence them up. So today, if you're a traditional manager or employer, how do you treat your employees? Do you treat them with respect? Do you honor them in their unique ways? Or do you view them as burdens? If you're not an employer, but a leader at a church, in some type of service opportunity, or just somewhere else, do you treat people with kindness and respect? Now, if you're receiving service at the car rental counter, at the restaurant, at the hospital, or at the airport, when things go wrong, do you just blow up? Or do you build that person up while trying to solve the problem? These are just everyday opportunities we have to not be a jerk at work or anywhere else in life. We are called to treat others as God treats us. So here's my challenge for you today. Find 3 people to show them their worth. If you're an employer, how can you show an employee their value? If you're at the front desk of a business or your living facility, how can you show kindness and God's grace to them? If you're at the store, at the restaurant, or even at the post office, how can you share God's grace with the people who are serving you today? There are so many everyday ways to add value to people. I would rather be remembered for being a grace giver than a jerk, and so would you. When we show people our new nature in Christ, let's face it, we all win the day.